what's up, everybody? It's your boy Corey Parson, the fantasy executive, here on A Bettor Morning. A Bettor Morning presented by Rival Fantasy, your all-in-one fantasy sports platform. Let's get ready to hop into it and get to recapping a interesting third Sunday of the NFL season. A little bit later on in the program, we will touch on the two Monday night contests tonight. Obviously, the Joe Burrow injury situation kind of dominating Monday Night Football. What's going on? It also made me make some crazy lineup decisions yesterday because I wasn't going to throw Burrow out there and get a donut. So I went with Desmond Ridder, and I may have just well gone with Joe Burrow. So I got a lot of stuff to get into, a short amount of time to do so, you know what I'm saying? But I want to thank each and every one of you for joining and rocking along with the program. I did once again yesterday get an email letting me know that I had cashed out at Rival Fantasy. So hopefully you got down with those picks at the back end of last week. Now, in the preseason, the training camp part of the year, you know, whatever. People are happy to have football back. They're happy to be talking about football. People are optimistic or even pessimistic about their favorite teams and franchises. And, you know, you get a story here. Oh, Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson getting along well. Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson got a special handshake. Dak Prescott's not going to throw no more interceptions. You know what I'm saying? You know, all of these news stories that come out during the preseason news cycle and stuff like that as we batten down the hatches to get ready for the upcoming season. One of the stories that came out of this year's training camp / preseason season was when new Denver Bronco head coach Sean Payton decided to step to a live microphone like the one I'm speaking into right now and say that his predecessor, now New York Jet offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett, did the worst coaching job he has ever seen in history. Now, to a lot of people, this came as a, why would he say that? But to me, the fantasy executive, I already knew what he was doing. I said to myself, wow, that's interesting for him to take this stand already. Basically, he's trying to throw the sin off of Russell Wilson and saying that, listen, Hackett didn't do great last year. I think Russell can fix it this year. With knowing deep in his heart of hearts, he doesn't want anything to do with Russell Wilson. So I said, that's interesting stand for him to take coming out the gate like that. Because God forbid there comes a chance where we can hold the mirror up to Sean Payton. Because you ever heard the old phrase, when you point the finger at someone, there's three coming back at you? The audacity of Sean Payton. My man, let me tell you something. No matter how terrible Nathaniel Hackett was last year, no matter how much you want to blame Russell Wilson for what's going on with the Denver Broncos, Nathaniel Hackett ain't never lose a game by 50 points. Nathaniel Hackett never let an opponent run up 726 yards of total offense. That didn't happen on Nathaniel Hackett's watch last year. Nathaniel Hackett didn't lead a team that gave up 350 yards rushing. Nathaniel Hackett didn't lead a team that gave up 376 yards passing. Nathaniel Hackett didn't lead a team that saw the opponents doing line dances in the end zone. An historic ass cutting was not at the hands of Nathaniel Hackett. He didn't have nothing to do with that. That was all you, Sean Payton. That was your team. Your team lost by 50. Your team almost got their ass cut to historic levels. They scored 70, but they eased up on you. They could have went for an 80 bomb, and you had the audacity when the season started to point your finger at somebody else. Nat Hackett ain't never give up almost 800 yards in total offense, dog. This guy 4 touchdowns, that guy 4 touchdowns. You standing there on the sideline looking like a damn fool. Talking about Nathaniel Hackett, the audacity of you, Sean Payton. Shame on you. What you gonna do now? Go to the press conference and blame Russell Wilson for this one too? Russell Wilson didn't give up 726 yards of total offense. Russell Wilson didn't let his opponents go 5 or 9 on third down. Everybody in the world knows the dangers of Tyreek Hill. Before you can get soon as they sing the national anthem, he go running across the damn field by himself like he's not Tyreek Hill, the scariest man in the NFL. If you're trying to tank the team and get Russell Wilson out of there, that's one thing. But don't go to the media talking about how somebody else is doing a terrible job. Because if you look at the numbers, ain't nothing worse than this, Jack. This right here is as bad as it gets, Sean Payton. Got the audacity to sit up here and point your fingers at Nat Hackett and the team that you coaching came out here and quit before they even got to the 10-minute mark of the first quarter. You need to be ashamed of yourself, Sean Payton. You will sit up here every week, blame Nat Hackett, blame Russell Wilson. Look in the mirror, Sean Payton. 50-point loss. That's on you, Jack. Almost 800 yards total. Oh, they pulled the trigger. They slowed the game down. They could have went hand. They could have dropped the 80 burger on you. That team quit. They never quit under Hackett last year. Here it is with you. They quit in week 3. You got the audacity to sit up here and talk about somebody the way that Denver Bronco team played yesterday. Other team doing TikTok dances in the end zone. Like they wasn't even playing a football game. You got one running back running for 200 yards on you. Tyreek Hill almost had 200 yards receiving. They could have got there if they wanted to. Everybody in the world know what Tyreek Hill can do. Everybody in the world know how Tyreek Hill can get that football and do those crazy things. And yet the game started and he go right down the field. You gave up. Your team let the other team average 10 yards a play. That's a first down every time they touch the ball. The other team averaged 8 yards rushing. That's not Russell Wilson. That's not Nate Hackett. That's you, Sean Payton. You don't have that team prepared. They wasn't ready. They don't want to play for you. That's what it looks like to me, because why would they quit and roll over just like that? What a horrific job, Sean Payton. You need to be ashamed of yourself. And I don't want to ever hear you point the finger at Russell Wilson or anybody else in that organization again, because this is your doing. You're the head coach. The buck stops with you. Early on a Monday morning, Heather. Jesus Christ. Sean Payton. The audacity of Sean Payton to sit up here and point his fingers at somebody else and his team go out there and lose by 50. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Speaking of being ashamed of themselves, you remember back when we was doing the show when we all was in the 4 boxes and there was a better morning and we talked about division odds and stuff like that. And I talked about the Jacksonville Jaguars being a minus 150 favorite to win the division and how that was possibly the dumbest bet on the most craziest odds, the biggest sucker bet I have ever heard in my life. It's not that the Jacksonville Jaguars are not a good team. It's not that the Jacksonville Jaguars are not an up-and-coming team. It's that the Jacksonville Jaguars, you would put $1.50 for them to win the division. Let me tell you something. I say this all the time. One of the tougher things to do in life and in sports is to go from being good to being great. The Jacksonville Jaguars ain't great. They're good when they want to be good, but they're inconsistent and they're far from being great. Trevor Lawrence yesterday, decent. 27-40, touchdown and the interception. ETN ran the ball well. Evan Ingram made some plays as well. But here's the thing. When you look at it and you boil down the Jacksonville Jaguars, who scored 17 points in the second half, they got blanked in the first half. What do you see? Things that don't add up to teams being great. 2 turnovers, right? Couldn't stop the pass, couldn't stop the run. 5 of 13 on third down. Yet, the Houston Texans, with their rookie quarterback, 9 of 15 on third down. I hope you didn't fall into the trap that the Jacksonville Jaguars was going to be this team that was going to be this great team this year. I see you, Octavius. Jag screwed me yesterday, DFS. You had Calvin Ridley in DFS. Dog. You had ETN. He was all right. But any of those dudes, they didn't get the job done. Trevor Lawrence, they didn't get the job done yesterday. The Jacksonville Jaguars got booed off their home field at halftime in Duval. The people don't want to boo the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's a Florida sports fan. They don't want to boo the team. They want to come out there, party, have a good time, living my best life. That's what they do in Jacksonville. They went to that game at halftime. They deep in the field. The fans in Jacksonville was booing, and rightfully so. What an uninspiring performance by the Jacksonville Jaguars yesterday. Lawrence Octavius had Lawrence, Ridley, Ingram double stack. That's one lineup down the drain right there. Terrible job by the Jacksonville Jaguars. It didn't get you nowhere. You're right. Can you imagine getting booed off your home field in week 3 in sunny Duval County where everybody's living their best life? They didn't want to come out there to boo y'all. Hell, if you'd have lost, they'd have been fine. But it was an uninspiring game. The toughest thing to do in sports and in life is to go from being good to being great. The Jacksonville Jaguars got a long way to go. I hope you didn't lay $1.50 with that team to win that division. That was a sucker bet. What else did I have on my list? Oh, another team that got booed off their home field yesterday. The Minnesota Vikings. Didn't I tell y'all before the season started that I thought that the Vikings was in Caleb Williams tank mode? Lame duck quarterback, got rid of Thielen, got rid of Cook. And people thought that this team was going to be able to compete in the NFC because they won 14, 13 games last year. They won 11 of those games by one score. The one-score games, they're not winning those games this year. They have regressed to the means. Booed off their home field yesterday. Booed at halftime, booed in the third quarter, booed in the fourth quarter. And let me tell you something. Hey, Jacksonville Jaguars, let me tell you something. You ain't off the hook either, Charger fan. These two teams yesterday tried to figure out who could lose the game. Horrific decisions on both head coaches down the stretch. I thought they was going to leave Brandon Staley there as the Chargers lost that game. He got bailed out yesterday. I predicted he would get fired in season. It would have happened yesterday. Listen, they won the game, and he could still get fired. What a horrific head coaching job on both halves yesterday. I mean, you talk about bad football from good, talented players. Herbert is a talent. Mike Williams might as well play flag football because he can't stay on the field. But Herbie's a talent. Keenan Allen getting it done. Darren James, they got good players. The head coach missed the 4th and 15. Man, he tried to lose that game yesterday. And then the Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins, uninspiring. Conley, don't know what he's doing. Booed off their home field and they deserved it. Don't make no sense that these dudes that call themselves professional football head coaches make decisions like this Sunday after Sunday and go to the podium and don't have to be held accountable for it. Staley needs to be fired today. He needs to be fired after winning a game. Vikings don't care. Booed off their home field. When you get booed off your home field in week 3, you got issues, Jack. Speaking of issues, the Dallas Cowboys, America's team. Oh, boy. So apparently Dallas needed a bye week before the time for them to take their bye week. I think their bye is scheduled for week 7 or 8. They decided they wanted week 3 to be their bye week. Turn on the Dallas Cowboys game. The first thing that I noticed was, look at this. So apparently the Cowboys must have went out Saturday night. They must have had their gumas or their girlfriends in town because the Dallas Cowboys played listless. They looked like they was out in Phoenix drinking and carousing on the night before. That's how they played. Like they said, you know what? We're not going to take this game seriously. It's a lonely Arizona Cardinals. Get your guma, get your girlfriend. Let's go hit the town. We ain't got to worry about the Cardinals. And they come out there and they get their ass kicked. This is Mike McCarthy from 2020. Penalties. 10 penalties in the first half. That's not a good head coach. Oh, that's a bad week. Oh, and then Dak Prescott scared to pull the trigger, patting the football. Now the interceptions have got to his head. Now he's so scared to throw the interception, he don't want to throw the football at all. No cap, Corey. Toronto Dave, if I see it, I got to say it. Pat the football, scramble here, scramble there, throw a 5-yard check down. Throw the ball out of bounds, throw the ball at the back of the end zone. Scared to throw the interception. The interceptions have gotten to your head, Prescott. Oh, and then, guess what? When the game was on the line, guess what he did? Threw an interception. Oh, you know, Dak, Dak, somebody touched it first. The receiver dropped it. He tipped it. It was always somebody else's fault. That one right there went right to the opposite team player. When the game was on the line, horrific offensive performance by the Dallas Cowboys yesterday. I do think they'll bounce back, though. How about them Cowboys? But you can't go out to Arizona and go party and hang out and have a good time. It wasn't your bye week yet, Dallas. Major letdown. Cowboys will be all right. I'm not worried about them. There is a couple of people, excuse me, that I do want to give a shout out to. But before I give those people those shout outs, I want you all to head on over to Fantasy Alarm and start a free 7-day trial of their All-Pro subscription. Get all the Week 4 DFS contests and content and picks for free. You can get stuff from Monday Night Football tonight. Go to fantasyalarm.com/win. Everybody watching and checking us out on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed already, please do that as well. DeShaun Watson, shout out to him. I was very tough on DeShaun Watson last week, and he needed it. He needed a little bit of tough love last week, and he got it. Now, this week, the matchup was fantastic. The Tennessee Titans have the worst pass defense in the league. Watson tore them up the way you should tear up the worst pass defense in the league. 27-33, 289, 8.8 an attempt, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's what we want to see, DeShaun Watson. That was the player that we thought you were going to be. That's who they thought they were getting, DeShaun Watson. Great job. Listen, if I see it, I got to say it. No cap, Corey. You play bad, I'm going to tell the truth. You play good, I'm going to give you your props. You get your props, DeShaun Watson. Back on the board, my man. Shout out to DeShaun Watson. Good job, kiddo. Now, that was against the worst pass defense in the NFL. Next week, you're home from Baltimore. Now, that's when you're really going to get judged because, you see, that's a home game. The Browns are a good team. They got a shot to win that division. You can't be the reason why they lose it because they brought you in there to win it. The team was fine before you got there. They're a contender. They can be a contender. Watson, good job this week against poor competition. Next week, when you step up in competition, don't you be the reason they lose the game. Shout out to C.J. Stroud, too. This kid right here is getting it done. They got the right guy in Houston. That's what they're saying. Looks like that might be the case. 20 of 30, 280, 9-3 an attempt. That's elite right there. 2 touchdowns, no picks. Shout out to C.J. Stroud getting it done, giving him a little bit of rushing, only 14 yards, but you take what you can get. That's a point right there. He's got his receivers, Tank Dell, Nico Collins looking good. They're going to Jacksonville to get a nice victory. So I feel good about, if you're a Houston Texan fan, you got to feel good about your quarterback situation moving forward. Now, tonight we got 2 Monday Night Football games. I'm set these up and break these down for you right quick. Then we get up out of here and send you off to Fire Sportstopia, Fantasy Fire, and Ice MLB edition. I'll be on that one too. What do you know? A jack of all trades. Philadelphia Eagles 5-point road favorites tonight versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't really like primetime favorites. I take the 5 with the Bucs. And then the other Monday Night Football game tonight is the Rams and the Bengals. 1-1 Rams, 0-2 Bengals. Bengals a 2-point home favorite. A 2-point road favorite. Bengals a 2-point home favorite. I do believe this one was close to call because the Rams have been playing better than I thought they was going to play. So I'm kind of impressed with that. Not to mention the fact that this Joe Burrow thing has been a problem for me because one of my more fantasy teams I like the most is not getting it done. And being that they're not getting it done is causing me to have some sleepless nights because I want my fantasy team to play good. And it's not playing good because of Joe Burrow being missing or Joe Burrow not playing well. So tonight, if you were the person that took the risk of waiting on Joe Burrow to see what he's going to do and see if he's going to be active, I hope it works out for you. Because I had to go to the waiver wire because I didn't trust it. So what ended up happening is I ended up having to go to the waiver wire to get a quarterback. And I was looking at Russell Wilson and Desmond Ridder. That's all that was available. So with that being said, I ended up I put in a bid for Wilson. I put in a secondary bid for Ridder. The dude I'm playing this week knew I had a quarterback issue and outbid me for Wilson. Son of a gun. Very smart move to do that, though. I had to go with Ridder. He was a dog. So hopefully, if you're waiting on Joe Burrow, he does play tonight. If not, maybe you can go to Matthew Stafford if he's on your waiver wire. But good luck. It didn't work out for me. I got 85 points. That's not good if you don't know. But anyway, I want everybody to enjoy Monday Night Football tonight. As a matter of fact, I want you to enjoy it right here on the Bettor Sports Network because we're gaming Monday Night Football on the Bettor Cast app. Yep, that is right. We are gamifying Monday Night Football on the Bettor Cast app. Predict what will happen during tonight's NFL games and test your NFL knowledge. This is good times right here. Chat with our community about all the big plays, top performance, and bust in real times. No purchase necessary or subscription necessary. Always free to play. Always free to play the Bettor Cast. Watch the NFL with us, play our free contest, and win tickets, prizes. The more questions you answer, the more tickets you win. Download the free Bettor Cast app in the Apple Play and Google Play Store. So there you go right there. Don't forget MLB Fantasy Fire and Ice coming up next right here on the Bettor Sports Network. Get you ready for a short baseball slate. I'll be over there doing that one too. I want to thank everybody for rocking rollers with us this morning. And obviously, we are wishing you a better day.